Hi guys, Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I'm here to share with you my latest design team project for Crealies. And what I made was this little mini brag book, or it could also be an insert for mini albums, whatever you wish. It could be a standalone project. It could be something where instead of putting the paper on the back, you just go ahead and attach it to an album. So anyway, before I get you showing you that, let me just walk you through the dies I used. So the big labels and tags I used, and this is CL BLT 13 with stitch line. Really pretty dies. I also used this one here. This is the gift card slides, and this is CLXTRA 21. Really pretty. And then I used one of the on the edge dies, and this one is CLOTE 30. And then I used the new paper, Lost in Paradise from Graphic 45. This is the 8x8 pad, and I didn't use a lot. As you can see, I still have a lot of paper left. So this doesn't take a whole lot of paper, so it's good if you have some leftovers from making a bigger album or whatever you might have laying around. So let me go ahead and walk you through it. So on the front here, this is one of the tags that I used to make a magnetic closure. So you can hear that. And then it says Lost in Paradise, which is the name of the collection. Opens up, and then I cut out another part in the back here. It says, do not go where the path may lead, instead go where there is no path and leave a trail. That's just awesome. So it's got the pretty flamingos. So it opens up like this. And then this page. This paper is just so gorgeous that I wanted to go ahead and make a project that focused on the paper, and you can go ahead and insert photos and stuff in the pockets, so you still get the whole nice design element from the papers. So this is a trifold, and it has two photos on the side here. I left them blank on the back, so you can go ahead and add a photo. And then I use the on the edge die to make these really pretty corner pockets right here. I'll show you a little closer. Just like that. And then I use the tag dies to go ahead and make some of the tags. They're just blank on the back. And this one. And then I had a little bit left over. I didn't want to get rid of this, so I just cut up the pieces and made in little photo mats out of them. I thought that they would be pretty to just add. And then right here, so this center right here is the little pocket here. This is the gift card slide. So it creates a second little pocket on the front, and they tuck in. And then super pretty, bigger tag, and then the pocket right here. So if I take out all the tags, that's what it looks like right there. So anyway, I do have a full tutorial following this video, so go ahead and check it out. I went ahead and tried to give out the measurements for metric at the same time, so just bear with me. I'm trying to learn those, so if you see something that I might need to change, or if I'm not saying them correctly, just let me know. But be nice, please. I'm really trying so everybody has the opportunity to go ahead and make this. So I'm trying to put all the measurements up that you might possibly need. But anyway, it closes like this, and it's a magnet. Alright, so go ahead, check out the tutorial, and let me know what you think. Alright, enjoy! So just real quick, I realized I forgot to tell you what size this was. So this happens to measure 6 by 8, so 6 across 8, and that would be 15.2 by 20.3 metric. And anyway, I just wanted to let you know because I realized I forgot to tell you, so you have no idea. Alright, enjoy the tutorial. So here are the measurements that you're going to need in inches. So go ahead and hit the pause button and write them down, or take a screenshot. Alright, and then here are the measurements in metric. So again, hit pause or go ahead and take a screenshot. If there is anything that is wrong, make sure you do check the description box down below, because any adjustments will be made down there. Okay, so let's get started. You're going to need 3 of piece A, which measures 6 by 8 inches, or in centimeters, it's 15.2 by 20.3. And you are going to keep one with no score lines, and you're going to take 2 of them and score at a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters. And I will have all these measurements down below in the description box or wherever this video will travel to. They will be in the front of the video. Okay, so let's get started. So to start off with, you're going to need your piece A. And piece A, you're going to need 3 of them, and they are going to measure at 6 by 8 inches, scoring at a 1/2 inch on 2 of the pieces at a 1/2 inch. One piece you will leave alone. And if you're doing metric, that's going to be 3 pieces at 15.2 by 20.3, and you're going to score at 1.3 on 2 of the pieces. And then you're going to apply your score tape to 2 pieces. And what you want to do is we're going to trim off the corners a little bit. So when I trim off the corners, I'm not going to go straight to this score line. I'm just going to go up a tad. So if you apply your score tape right to the edge, you're going to want to trim at the bottom of the score tape, not the score line, but at the bottom of your score tape and angle it. And you're going to do that to both pieces. Just like that. And then go ahead and burnish them down, and you want to fold it so you don't see the score tape, because we're going to fold this over the back side of our center piece. So just go ahead and give it a nice burnish. And same thing with that one. Alright, and then you're going to take your center piece, and you're going to take one of your pieces with the score tape facing inside. You're going to stick it around the center piece. So the flap is in the back. This is your center piece here, this one. You're going to stick it in and just tuck this over. I usually tap it down a little bit on my table to make sure it's squared off. And I'm also paying attention that I'm squared off to the top and to the bottom. And you will notice that there is going to be space here, and that's supposed to be there. Okay, so once you're confident with where you got it, hold it. I flip it over. Untuck, just flip this back and make sure that you are up against right to the edge of the paper. If you're not, go ahead and do it again, because you want to make sure you're in there nice and tight. And once you know you've got it where you need to, go ahead and take the tape off. And that's the first piece. So then your other piece, you're going to go ahead, do the same thing, and attach it to the other side. Just like that. Again, same thing. Making sure it's nice and tight and even. Hold it down. Looks good. Remove the tape. And then, again, you're going to have space here. And then it just unfolds like this. Alright, and then you're going to need your 2 B pieces, and these are 6 1/4 by 4 3/4, scoring at a 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 inch side. And if you are doing metric, it's going to be 15.9 by 12, scoring at 1.3. Alright, and these ones you don't need to do any trimming to, but you are going to go ahead and tuck it again, same way, so you don't see the tape. Fold it over. Go ahead and burnish it down. So now these ones here, so this is your little book. You're going to open it up. So this one is going to go on the tape part now is going to go to the outside on your front cover. So go ahead and put it on. And I'm about a 1/2 inch from the top. Just like the other one, I'm going to go push it in. Making sure it's in against the edges here, right where it's supposed to be. And then stick that one down. And then to this side, I'm going to do the same thing again, putting this on here. And make sure it's on nice and tight, right up against my edges, and stick it down. So now what you have is this, and then it folds up just like that. All right, that's the base of this. Now we're just going to go ahead and add some little pockets to it. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to work on some pockets, and this is the little corner pocket we're going to make. Whoops, right here. So what you're going to need to do to make this little pocket is, first of all, you are going to need your on the edge die from Crealies, and this one is going to be CLOTE 30, right there. And you're going to need 2 pieces because we're going to make 2 pockets. I already made one, so you're going to need 2 of them at 5 by 5 inches or 12.6 by 12.6 centimeters, and you're going to score on the 1/2 inch on 2 sides. So you're going to score making an L, so you have a score on here, put it in your scoreboard, and score here at a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters. And then what you want to do is we need to make some little marks, so we can go ahead and cut this out. So what you want to do is you're going to go ahead and on your score lines is where you're making the marks. So you can see my L-shaped score line right here. So you're from the edge, the cut edge, you're going to measure up 4.5 inches, and you're just going to put a little tick mark there. All right, so see if you can see it right there. And then you're going to do the same thing here. So 4.5 inches from the cut edge. So there's the tick mark. So you see my score lines just like this. 4.5 inches up from the bottom, that's 4.5, and over 4.5. Then what you want to do is take your die, and you're going to need some washi tape. And you're going to go ahead and attach it to your marks. So what I did on my dies, because when you have it flipped over, you can't see all of the stitching and the marks and stuff. So what I did was I just took a little black Sharpie, and in the center of the die, I don't know if you can even see it. You can see the little black mark I put there. That just tells me where the center of where my die is cutting. It just helps me guide a little bit when I'm going ahead and attaching it. So what I'm going to do is where I put my little tick marks on here, let's see, right there and right there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place this on those tick marks. So I'm going to go ahead right up to the score line too, because I want to cut right up to the score line. So I'm just going to take my washi and stick it down to hold my die in place so it doesn't shift while I run it through the machine. And you want to go ahead and make sure when you do put your washi tape on that you're putting it to the side that you're not going to use, because I'll show you in a minute, but when you run it through your machine, this is really going to adhere quite well to the cardstock. So I'm just going to go ahead and run it through real quick. Sorry about the noise. Alright, so that's what we just cut out. So as you can see now, when I go to take this off, see, it will rip the paper right off because it really presses down. See, it really presses it down onto the cardstock. So you always want to make sure you're putting your washi towards the side you're not going to use. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece off. So from where it cut, I'm just going to go straight across into my score line. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my score tape. So I can make my pocket. So I'm going to go ahead now on the corner, and I need to cut this corner off. So where your 2 score lines meet, making an X, you want to cut right through the center of the X, just like that. Okay, and then you're just going to fold these over, making your corner pocket. Oops. And my score line's unscored through the machine, so because that machine is quite powerful. Alright, so right there. So now that's what it looks like on the back. You want to make sure that these two here, when you fold them over, that they don't overlap, because otherwise you're going to add bulk and your pocket's not going to lay nice and flat. Alright, so now what you want to do is go ahead and let me get some stuff out of the way. You're going to go ahead and open up your book, just like this, and your pockets are going to go in these corners here. So it's going to go right down in the corner like that. So again, I'm going to go ahead and line it up to the bottom, and then I'm going to make sure it's lined up to the edge over here nice. And once I'm sure I've got it nice and even, I'm going to hold it down, untuck my flap, put it down, and there's that one. Folds over, and now we're going to go to this corner here, and we're going to put the other one down same way. So you want to go straight to the edge, straight to the bottom. Just be careful you don't overlap to the edge to where your photo mat is, because then it's not going to fold nice and you'll have to reburnish. So once you have it where you want it, go ahead and stick it down. And there we go. So it folds up just like this. Alright, so I'll come back in a second. We'll do the center pocket. Okay, so let's get started on our center pocket. So this piece is 6 3/4 by 7 inches, or, hold on, I didn't get my metric for that. Let me see. Or it's going to be 17.1 by or 17.7. Right, you're not going to need the full top of this. So, and then you're going to score at a 1/2 inch on all 3 sides. So on the 6 3/4 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch and 6 1/4. And on the 7 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch, or on the 7.7 side in centimeters at 1.3, and then at 1.3 on each side of the 17.1. Alright, so what you want to do now is you're going to go ahead and you're going to measure up from the bottom of the pocket where the bottom score line is. You're going to measure up 4 inches from the cut edge. And again, make a little tick mark. And that's on both sides. I'll show you in a minute. So 4 inches, or 10.1 centimeters. So from the bottom up, and I made a little tick mark here, and I have a little tick mark here. So you can kind of see those. So then again, I'm going to take my die and some washi tape. And the same thing on the corner pockets. I'm going to go ahead and line it up. Just like that. You can see there. And cut it out. Alrighty. So there's that. And again, just take that off. And you can go ahead and cut through. And then we're going to go ahead and add our score tape to make our pocket. And then again, just like the other one, where our lines, our score lines come through, making the X, we're going to chop that off there and over here. So go ahead, chop those off. And then fold on your lines. Making sure there is no overlapping again. That one actually is perfect. And there's that one. Go ahead and burnish it down. And now we go ahead and take our book. We're going to open it up so we're in the center right here. And this is where we're going to stick our pocket down. So we're going to eyeball it to the center, leaving about a 1/4 inch, maybe not even a 1/4 inch, maybe 2/8 from each side. Make sure it's centered. Go ahead and untuck the bottom flap and stick it down. Here we go. And that is that. So then it folds up like this. So now, real quick, while we're still here, so I need to make a closure. What I'm using for the closure is the big labels and tags die. And this one happens to be CLBLT 13 with stitch line. And I'm using the largest one. So I went ahead and cut that out already. And I put this in my scoreboard. So this end is down here, and I went ahead and scored at 3.5 inches. It doesn't really matter. You just have to score a little bit on here, just because you just need to fold, but I mean, it depends on how wide you want your hinge. Go ahead and fold it and score it down. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to open up the one side, and we're going to add tape to this side here, because that's what we want to attach down. So tape or glue, whatever you decide you want to use. And it's going to get covered over, so it'll adhere down better once you put pattern paper over it. So now I'm taking this one here and right here, so it's folded over, and I'm going to just eyeball it to the center, and I'm going to bring it all the way to the edge. Alright, so this one's a little longer, so it's a little hard to untuck. Go ahead like this. Remove the tape. And I'm going to go ahead and stick it down just like that. So then this is how it closes up in a little magnet closure underneath the paper. Alright, I'm going to work on decorating this, and I will come back when we go to do the little corner pockets and stuff, so I'll show you how to do those. Okay, real quick, just to show you on my closure, I went ahead and added some magnets. So this is what's going to keep it all closed. So to go ahead and cut this piece out here, I went ahead and cut out my pattern paper, and I used the die that matches the second one down from the largest, which is meant for your designer paper. So I went ahead and cut that out. So to go ahead and figure out how much of this that I need, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set it on here. And I like the stitch pattern, so I want to continue the stitch pattern to end off this. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up about where I want it. So I'm going to use my die that I want to use the stitch pattern. So keep in mind that anything on the outside of this is going to cut off. Anything on the inside will stay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm going to go ahead and I have 2 pieces of washi tape ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and eyeball where I want it. Then I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to hold it down and I'm going to go kind of to the edge but not quite. So I'm going to go ahead and find the spot that I want and then go ahead add my washi tape. And then I'm going to run it through my machine. So I'm going to take it off here and not to cut the end off. So I'm going to put it over the top and I'm going to run it through my machine and cut that off. Okay, so I went ahead, ran it through my machine. Again, make sure that you put this piece over the top of the die or you're going to chop that off. And then there you go. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this little corner pocket here. So let me show you how to do that one. So this one takes a little patience and a lot of little trimmings. So what I'm doing is this is my pattern paper I'm going to use, and I have my washi tape ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I zoomed in nice and tight for you, so hopefully you can see it. So here's my pocket. So you can see it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stick my pattern paper on, and I'm going to go super close, but where I can still, in these little edges here, see where my pocket is. So I can see where that is. And then I'm going to take my die, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on right at the edges of the pocket. Just make sure I line it up. Oops. Let's try it again. So line it up. And then go ahead and stick my tape down, and I'm going to run this through my machine. So hold on 1 second. Okay, so it's cut out. Let me show you. So here we have it here. So now if you can see that this is overhanging, like, because here's the edge of the black and then this. So you can see it's overhanging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut off very small slivers from here and here. So when I put it in my paper cutter, I'm going to put this at the top, trim here, and then I want to make sure I'm still squared off. So I'm actually going to flip it up and trim here. So I'm trimming here and here, but it doesn't matter as long as you flip it. This way I'm going to not lose the shape because you got all this angle, so this would be hard to put in your paper trimmer. So I'm just going to cut off a little hair. So I'll put it in my trimmer, trim here, and then rotate this up and trim here. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I get it to where I like it. So just so you know, these pieces here were from the other pocket. So you can see what I mean when I say just a little sliver. So less is more. So you can't add it back, obviously, once you cut it off. But if you just keep doing little trims, you can eventually get it. But make sure that when you're trimming it, you're doing both sides at the same time. That way, because otherwise you might get your angles wonky, because you want to make sure you stay nice and squared off here at the corner. So when you lay it down, it'll match up. All right, so just go ahead and take your time, little slivers. Like I said, here's all mine. And just go ahead and do that and then glue it down. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on the center pocket right here. So what I did was I'm hoping that this piece here from leftover from this one is enough to do this piece right here. So what I did was I cut it down to 5 5/8 because that's how wide that I want it to go here. So on these here, so on these dies, if I put them on here, these are 1-inch squares. If I put this all the way to the edge and then I look to see where it goes here, so I'm going, these are 1 inch. So if I go right to the edge, line it up to this 1-inch line right here, it goes up 1 1/4 inches. So this is a 1 1/4 inch mark. So what I did was on my pattern paper, I measured down 1 1/4 inches from the top, and I'm going to line up the sides of my die to those 1 1/4 inch marks. So just to be sure, I'm going to line up my paper. So I'm going to the 1/4 inch here on my mat, and then the 1-inch line right here. And I'm going to square it off too. So hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Whoops, let me move down. Okay, so I'm squaring off to the mat here itself with the grid lines. So I'm going to square it off on the on a straight line here, and then I'm only going 1/4 inch over from this line going down, if that makes sense. And then my die is going to go on the 1-inch line. So I'm going to line it up like that. And then use the washi tape and tape it down. And the only thing I want to make sure, which I'm good, is I need to make sure the point of the die is going to cut, and I don't want it to not cut. So it looks like I'm no room to spare, but I'm right perfect where I need to be because I don't have a lot of playroom. So I'm going to cut this out and let's see if it works. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if that worked for me. And moment of truth. Perfect. Actually, my sides probably... Actually, I think they're good. So I want to just go ahead. I'm just going to make a pencil mark right here where I want to trim off right there, and I'm just going to trim it. Anyway, that's how you do that one. All right, so I will be back. I'm going to do a little element in the center here, so I'll be back once I get this ready to go. Okay, so for this center piece here, I want to add another fancy little element to it. So I am using the Crealies. These are the gift card slides. They come in 2 sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and use the larger of the 2, and there is 2 pieces. So I'm going to use, just working off of the little piece, the little slot piece. So I'm going to take the pattern paper that I just cut, and I'm going to flip it over to the back side. So on this piece here, about where I want to go ahead and make my pocket is, I'm just going to guess, but where I'm going to mark it is I'm going to come up 2 inches from the bottom, and I just made a little line right here. And then what I want to do is, you need a centering ruler. So I'm going to go ahead and find the center. So looks like it's on this particular piece, so yours might be different depending on how you cut it, but it looks like 2 3/4 is approximately my center point. So I'm 2 3/4 this way and 2 3/4 this way. So now I'm going to go ahead, and I need some more washi. This you'll have to be careful with when you take it off, not to rip the paper, although it is on the back side so you won't see it, but you don't want to rip through your paper. So once I know I have my center, now I'm going to take my little die, and I'm going to find the center for that one. So that one appears to be, I'm going to go with 1 3/4, it looks like. So actually, let me stick this on and do it again. So, and then looks good. And I'm just going to go ahead and stick it down, and then I'm going to run this through my machine. Okay, so I ran it through my machine, and obviously it cut through. There's the little piece. So I'm just going to be careful taking off my washi. So now I have this little slot right in there. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pieces again. Now on this one, I think I'm just going to go ahead with some black cardstock to make my little piece. So, oops. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape this one down on the sides first to keep it in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this piece. And I want to keep it centered, so I'm going to put washi on one on each side. So my washi like that. So this piece is there. I'm going to go ahead and set this down, and then I'm going to eyeball it to the center where I want it. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut that out. Okay, so this is the little piece, and then this, let me zoom in. Oops. Wrong way. So this piece here is literally just going to go over the little, just like that. It's just going to go right over the top of that. So you're just going to glue it right on top, just like that. All right. And then when you go ahead and actually stick it in your book, you don't want to, so you want to go ahead and put glue or adhesive on the bottom and the sides and on the top part of this, because you want this part to stick down. But if you go ahead and, oh, I can use this. If you go ahead, once you have it down, you want to be able to leave this part here open, so you can go ahead and put a tag in there. So you're going to glue the top part here down, but make sure you don't put any adhesive in this area right here. And just to be sure, if you want to make sure you don't accidentally, just flip it over now. And then if you draw some little lines and just put some X's, just like that, you'll know not to put any adhesive in that little spot, so that way your tags can slide down. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, finish decorating, and I'll show you the book in a moment. All right, so I just wanted to show you real quick what I did. I went ahead and put on my little black border around there, and then when I put it down here, I noticed that I didn't like all the black showing, but I wanted a little contrasting color. So basically what I did was I just cut out from my scraps a piece of paper, and I put the glue all the way around. So I glued here just like in a little pocket shape, so it's still open here. And then that way, I'll just go ahead and glue this down. I'm going to go ahead and tuck a little glue under here. I just want to make sure it was going to work first. Then that way, this part here will be open. So let me just do the glue part with you. So now that's sealed all the way down to here. And then this little space right here is still open to hold a tag or whatever you want to put in there. All right, and then I'm just gonna, now I can just go ahead and glue this entire piece, so I don't have to worry about that back part. But I didn't like the idea of the black showing through, because you couldn't see this border to what was on the inside. And then now I'll just go ahead and stick it down. All right, so it's all finished. You probably in the beginning saw a walkthrough, but seeing how I just finished up decorating it, I'm going to do just a little recap right here of what we have. So like this, and then you got your two corner pockets, and then I just made some little photo mats out of the extra I also used the big labels and tags die that I used to make, what did I do? Oh, I used that to make my magnet closure on the front. And some more, real pretty. This paper, Graphic 45 paper, is just gorgeous. I left the two photo mats on the side here blank. That way you can just put a photo on it, just because I didn't want to waste white paper. I'm trying to get away from using the white paper because it just comes off anyway. So, and then the little pocket here that we put with this die. And this is the gift card slide, CLXTRA21. And then, of course, all of our other pretty angle pockets. The corners in this one is with one of the on the edge dies, and this is CLOTE30. And these were in this spot. Anyway, that wraps up this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you go ahead and make this. If you are watching this on my YouTube channel, Patty's Crafty Spot, go ahead, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button for more cute tutorials. If you're watching this on the Crealies YouTube page or on their website, If you're on the YouTube page, just go ahead and give them a thumbs up as well, and go ahead and subscribe so you can see what I make and what all the other design team members make. And anyway, until next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye!